Here at Family Outdoors, we like to keep our content family friendly. However, during this conversation at the end of this video, I am going to have a discussion about things that I normally don't talk about and in all likelihood use language I don't normally use on our channel. So at this point I'm going to have to ask that anybody who is watching as a family or minors, please turn the video off now and we'll see you in part 2. Well, that's the end of day 1. We're out again. This time we're at a bushcraft shelter that we constructed here recently. And following a few pointers and tips there from one of our subscribers on different things to try, different angles to look at, stuff like that. So we're kind of exploring that a little bit, as well as just carrying on with our normal silent style videos where I have a conversation at the end. So for this camp, like I said, we're in our recently constructed bushcraft shelter. Some of you that have been with the channel for a while may know this location already. We are out at our wild camping location from last year. And this is the area that we chose that we wanted to use to basically change it from just a strictly wild camping area to now we opened it up to bushcraft as well by creating the shelter here. Of course, we still got the smoker, we got the bench, we got the chair I'm sitting on, there's a table there. Constructed this table inside the shelter today to complement the bed, give me a spot to put stuff where it's dry and I don't have to move things around every time it rains. And we still got the wild game tripod there that we use to hang the deer and stuff that we harvest when we're out here on these camps. For those of you that missed that, click on this link here or look down in the description and I will leave the link to that video where we come out here, my wife and I, and we were doing some wild camping and hunting big game, and we ended up harvesting a deer there. And so yeah, if you want to check that out, click on the link or look down in the description. So you can see there's definitely some changes to this location. Some of you might even notice that there has been some changes to the format. Once I eat supper, I basically have a chat with you guys, and then filming is over unless there is something special, something that I can only show later at night, stuff like that. Or if I'm doing an actual bushcraft camp where, you know, it's the middle of a Canadian winter and stuff, and I made a Siberian log fire, obviously I hold off on lighting that until the exact moment that I plan on going to bed to ensure that I get, you know, a solid 8 hours maintenance free kind of burn time out of that sucker, that I can get a good sleep out of it. Them are unique situations though. Normally speaking, I change the format that once I eat my supper and I film that, I'm done with filming. Now the reason I did that is, again, a lot of you that have been with the channel for a while know that, you know, December-ish last year we almost quit filming for YouTube because it just was taking the enjoyment out of it. If you're not enjoying yourself and what you're doing, it's very much pointless doing it. And that was kind of the point that I was at with it. I just wasn't having fun doing it. And one of the ways that I learned to have a little bit more fun with being out here is making sure that I create time just for myself. And that's what I do after supper. I've got, you know, a solid 3 hours, 4 hours of daylight left, and I can use that time to, you know, learn myself, grow my skills, try new things, just relax, there are a lot of benefits to doing it and taking that time for yourself when you're out here. So I mentioned a subscriber earlier. His name is Scott, and we actually had a pretty good conversation there on one of the videos. I think it was the first video to my canoe trip. And we had a good discussion there, and he gave me a lot of good feedback and stuff. I really appreciate that. And during this video series, I am going to attempt to implement some of the stuff that he said. One of the suggestions was like wild edibles, stuff like that. I know I've done that lots in the past, and Scott might be a newer subscriber, but that's something I really enjoy anyway. So we're going to toss a bunch of that into this video series too. I already did just a quick solo overnight with the Polish Lavu, where we, made a largely wild meal there too, other than the ramen noodles that we used with it. Everything else was harvested, in the wild. A few of the other ideas he threw out there, you're gonna see throughout this series. He wants a couple tips maybe put in there. So due to the fact that I'm doing these silent videos here, I think the best way for me to implement them tips is to do them with captions just kind of down at the bottom there. So I will also be adding that throughout this series too. Alright, let's hone in on some specifics about this video and this video series itself. So today basically was waking up in the morning, packing up, getting out here, getting everything set up. That again, the first day, a large bulk of the video is just the getting out there and setting up. Crafted a little table here so that I could have, move my stuff here out of the rain, that I don't have to move it if it rains and stuff. Most of it don't matter if it gets wet anyways. It's just pots, pans, stuff like that. But again, just a little project to do here throughout this video series. I want to try different little crafting projects, kind of like my island camp, where every day I'll just pick one little project and we'll improve the camp every day bit by bit, just by picking one little project and getting it done. Today I elected to go with the table. Tomorrow I think I'm going to start on, I'd like to make a little cooking station here without, giving too much of it away. That's basically what I want to start doing tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have time throughout the day that I will be able to completely finish it tomorrow, but it is a pretty ambitious project. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the plan for tomorrow, is I'd like to craft that. You can see we brought our tent and glow-in-the-dark sleeping bag. Temperatures are warm, no need for a big heavy-duty sleeping bag or anything like that, so I brought a light one again. I've got the bug net there, which is my very first tip that you will see down in the captions. That nothing replaces a good bug net in the Canadian wilderness. I don't give a crap if you're wild camping, bushcrafting, tarp camping, whatever it is you're doing. A bug net, honestly, is the most underrated piece of equipment I have ever seen. Nobody talks about them. I'm sure a lot more people use them than they show in their videos, or they're not staying out there. But I can guarantee you, when you go out into the wilderness and you go to enjoy yourself, bugs isn't part of it. I definitely have no problem roughing it. I've done that more than my fair share of times. But let's be honest, this is fucking YouTube. I'm not going to come out here, you know, sometimes twice a week and get my ass friggin' chewed off just so I can say, hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Bushcrafty. I made a sleeping bag out of a friggin' moose hide and, you know, got the old flint knapping kit out there and made myself a knife and a stone axe. I mean, there's a point where the shit becomes absolutely ridiculous. I had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and it just, you know, it's to the point it sickens me, people's perspective on a lot of this stuff. I mean, we got to get a friggin' grip on ourselves here. The point is to go out into the wilderness and enjoy yourself. I don't care what survival or bushcraft school you were talking about. They all talk about the use of man-made tools and materials. It doesn't matter if it's the Pathfinder school with their 4 C's, 5 C's, which includes containers, covers, cordage, cutting tools, combustion. These are all man-made products that, you know, is their recommendation for you to bring out with you when you go. Morris Kochansky, who is by far, you know, he's the godfather of bushcraft. If anybody knows it, he knows it. He often talked about man-made materials and, you know, when you select them, you want them to have 3 or more uses, all this kind of stuff. My point is, you can go on a bushcraft trip. You can bring modern materials. And that doesn't mean that you're not bushcrafting. I mean, I think we all use bushcraft more than we think. Just as a small example, you could go out with a hammock or a tarp, maybe both, maybe a tent, and you know, more often than not, you're still going to include a lot of bushcraft into that, whether it's, you know, when you're talking about any of the above, you know, you can bushcraft toggles, stakes. More often than not, you're fashioning some form of either tripod or, you know, you're crafting something to be able to hold your pots over a fire. Creating fire, again, that to me, that's part of bushcraft. That's definitely part of the game. There's a lot of the craft that goes into it regardless of what you choose to sleep in. And I think we all just gotta start to get a grip on ourselves here over this debate of what is what. I mean, the idea of YouTubers is you are supposed to be inspirational and encouraging people to get into the outdoors. Now, I don't care if you go out into the outdoors and your first trip, you know, all you do is craft yourself a couple of tent pegs and, you know, practice your knots in erecting a tarp and a tent and use toggles and whatever. Make yourself some sort of a cooking platform to hang your pots. That's great. That's an awesome start. As we all progress through our journeys, the next time you get a little bit braver, you want to try something different, you want to try something new, and you do that. It's how we all developed and learned. I know when I started all of this, way back when I was a young guy and I was heading out into the bush, I didn't, you know, walk to the first piece of flint or quartz I found and sit there and knot myself a knife and then go make myself a stone axe so that I could be worthy of a bushcraft adventure. I used what I had. And I think that's very important. And sometimes I think we lose sight on that as creators, that we've built up this some kind of a self-righteousness that we feel that we're better than other people or something. We're no better than anybody else. We started in the exact same spot everybody else started. It's all part of the learning and the growing, and that's pretty well all to say. Like, if you want a hammock camp hammock camp. If you want a tarp camp, do it. Tents, great. Natural shelter, go for it. You want to put a bug net in it? Now you're fucking smart. That's basically the point that I'm at with all of this. There's a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of bullshit, a lot of self-righteousness, and you know, generally I stay away from the taboo kind of conversations, but you know what, this time, fuck it. That's what I think about it. That's my opinion. People that don't like it, you're an adult. Choose how you want to deal with it. But anyways, I'm done ranting for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1, and I'll see you in the morning. Keep outdoors.